latest news, national issues, the political scene. And now conversations with experts on what's igniting social media. All these firsthand at the forefront. On behalf of Atty. Karen Jimeno, I'm Ferdi Salvador. Good morning to my fellow Bilyonaryos. 2 nights ago, social media exploded over a cheating allegation by 2 young stars. The aggrieved ex-girlfriend, content creator Jamela Villanueva, posted revealing screenshots of chat messages between her ex-boyfriend Anthony Jennings and his co-star Maris Racal. While Jamela is still very much in a 7-year relationship with Jennings. The issue went viral overnight, resulting to big companies hitching on the latest controversy to promote products. And of course, netizens dishing out hilarious witty memes. What are the legal, professional, social, and personal ramifications of the latest showbiz controversy? To give us insights on the legal and professional implications of the controversy, we have with us a young legal practitioner for Dargon Law Office, Atty. Sean Patrick Lee. Good morning, Atty. Sean. How are you?
Good morning, Ferdi. I'm very good today.
Thank you so much for joining us and putting light on this very much viral issue at hand. And now, Attorney, of course, there may be legal implications on, posting certain things on social media. From a legal standpoint, did the co-stars Maris Racal and Anthony Jennings commit any violations with our laws?
Well, it's my opinion that on the side of Maris Racal, there doesn't necessarily seem to be any legal issues or charges that may be raised against her, maybe at most a case of unjust vexation. Let's say Ms. Jamela was maybe distressed or annoyed by the acts done by Maris in this case. But on the side of Jamela to Anthony, there is a possible case of violation of VAUSI or violence against women and children. So in this case, it may be possible that there is psychological injury or these certain issues made by Anthony by the cheating. So we can see here that Jamela had suffered, let's say, PTSD, trauma, or sleepless nights, anxiety in dealing with the cheating allegations that had blown up. So it's possible that Jamela may file a case of VAUSI against Anthony Jennings.
Well, let's see how that develops, right? But is cheating illegal in our country? Is it a crime?
Ferdi, no.
Right, because we come from a conservative country, and
Yes.
We do have conservative laws that are, bound by conservatism at least.
Yes, I agree. And in this case, with Anthony and Maris's alleged relationship, here it's merely a dating relationship. And even with Jamela and Anthony, since they are not married or anything of the sort, cheating in the general sense is not really punished under our laws.
Okay, so Jamela basically stated that she posted, or she claims that she posted these screenshots of these conversations, which, are quite, I would say, steamy, not so conservative, because she wants to get her peace back. As a girlfriend, is there any legal recourse? As you mentioned a while ago, VAUSI and the like. Is it a thin claim, or is it a thicker claim for her to be able to seek legal remedies?
I believe in this case that she may have a sort of stronger case in terms of that, because here what she would need to prove necessarily would just be her mental state. Let's say all of the sleepless nights, anxiety, or the trauma and PTSD that she experienced due to the cheating done by Anthony.
Right.
And in this case, the screenshots would provide, let's say, evidence to show that there was indeed cheating, and then she can just supplement this with, let's say, her testimony.
Okay, let's take it on the other side of the coin. Obviously, Maris is involved, and posting of such messages, of course, they're private, right?
Yes.
Does that constitute, like, for example, if I message you and it's just between us, that's my property. Does that hold water?
Well, in that case, for example, if it's a conversation between the both of us,
Yes.
because you are a part of the conversation, you may use the conversation for your purposes as well. So, but in this case, let's say Jamela posted conversations of Maurice and Anthony, so she's not a part of this conversation. In this case, there may be a violation of the Data Privacy Act done by Jamela.
Right.
Because in here, she was not a party to the conversation, and then she released these screenshots on her Instagram stories for essentially the whole world to see.
Right. So there may be malice to that.
Yes, there may be possible malice to that. For example, let's say if Anthony and Maurice decide to file a cyber libel case against Jamela, in cyber libel cases, there is malice presumed. But for example, let's say that Jamela proves that her claims are true, that indeed there was cheating involved, and that she had justifiable reasonings to be able to file this case. Let's say she was merely trying to warn others about certain cheating happening here, or that she's merely protecting herself and her rights because, as she was saying, that she has been already hearing, let's say, negative comments about her concerning the relationship of Anthony, alleged relationship of Anthony and Maurice. So in this case, she can maybe combat the cyber libel case by saying that she had justifiable reasons for posting those screenshots, and that the same is true. So in that case, it may be that the cyber libel case could go either way. So it would be dependent then on the arguments presented by both
I'll
parties.
ask you a very Cro-Magnon angle to this, right? Obviously, if two individuals decide to get married, that's a contract. Dating or being a girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever that relationship may be between individuals, is that considered a contract?
I would say no, because
there's a promise, right? Sometimes contracts, there's a promise and then there's an exchange. So I promise to be with you, therefore, is that a contract between you and I?
I would say not necessarily in the case of dating or in personal relations such as these. Because here, while marriage is a contract under our law, well, in terms of dating, since they are not in the marriage stage yet, then there's no really contract to speak of.
Right, because I'm asking these questions because obviously, we don't know the side of Anthony Jennings or whatever transpired between Anthony and Jamela prior to, the allegations of cheating between Anthony and Maurice, right? I'm just saying because, what if he already broke it off, during that period, and Jamela, out of her frustration and anger and seeking peace, on her part, posted these things, right? And okay, let me rephrase that. Since you mentioned it's not a contract, there are certain companies. Obviously, they're celebrities, their business is endorsing and acting, and that's how they earn their keep. Some of them have accelerated their postings to obviously hitch on this, this hot topic, and some of them have pulled back, right? So there is an economic implication on the individuals. Can either Maurice, Anthony, or Jamela file anything legal against each other because of these pullouts or even accelerations?
Yes. I think in this case, what I did see last night on social media was that brands were pulling out their endorsements with Maurice Racal. So in this case, Maurice Racal could possibly claim damages against Jamela for what had happened. So for example, let's say she files a case of cyber libel.
Yes.
This cyber libel case would also include auxiliary other remedies. In this case, would be that the damages caused to her. So she would say that she was injured by the postings of Jamela, and her act of posting this caused these endorsers to pull out and to cause her issues economically. And in that case, she can claim damages against Jamela for these lost contracts or loss of business opportunities. Because it all stems from her act of posting these screenshots.
Okay, so you, a while ago, you had made mention about VAUSI, privacy laws, and stuff like that. The mere fact that these conversations were posted obviously constitutes certain violations, right? on the part of Maurice, on the part of Jamela, right? What other violations can the individuals cite because of these postings? Because they are of sexual content.
Yes. In this case, because of there are certain, let's say, sexual innuendos that have already been going viral on social media, or that there are certain references made to the sexual life of Maurice and Anthony, this would fall under the Data Privacy Act. So I believe this may fall under sensitive personal information because it involves the sexual life of Maurice and Anthony that are being showcased here in these screenshots. And these screenshots are not just, let's say, general screenshots where their
Right.
names are blurred out or their personal circumstances are
It was
not
out there.
present. Yes, it was out there.
Yeah.
The full names, even the Instagram
Which
handles
is
were
obviously
also placed
damaging
there.
because these two individuals have very young and fresh reputations, right?
Yes.
But what are the penalties, attorney?
So, for example, if if Jamela was found to be liable for violations of the Data Privacy Act, this would fall under unauthorized processing of personal data or sensitive personal data. In this case, if Jamela was found liable for the violations of unauthorized processing of personal data, it would be around 1 to 3 years, including fines that may reach around millions.
Wow.
But in terms of, let's say, sensitive personal information, it may even go higher to 3 to 6 years of imprisonment and millions as well for fines. And that would not even include the damages, let's say, that Maurice can claim for the unauthorized processing of her data and the disclosure where she lost all of these business opportunities, so she may still allege this and
Right.
possibly claim it against Jamela.
Well, that's quite a heavy penalty if in case this happens. I mean, that's her youth behind bars. If it does happen, I hope it doesn't get to that point when they're obviously suing each other. However, what about the remedies? Do you think if Maurice and Anthony file suit regarding this, what remedies does Jamela have to counter this? In your
Well,
yes.
I believe in this case, although Maurice and Anthony may file these cases, that is not to say that their cases are 100% solid, or let's say
Right.
that they would completely win the case. So there are arguments that Jamela can present that would show that there may not be, let's say, any violations of the Data Privacy Act, or that she cannot be held liable for cyber libel. Like I said earlier, an argument for the cyber libel case, Jamela may say that these allegations are true, and
Because
that
she has
yes, because she has
alleged evidence.
yeah, and she did not fabricate these. These are true
Right.
statements and screenshots, and the fact that she did this for a justifiable purpose, that she was saying that this was for her healing and
Right.
that she was merely trying to warn other people of her own experience and to set the record straight since she was
Yes.
already hearing certain negative
Yes.
feedback about her and her dating life.
Right.
So in this case, while Anthony and Maurice may file these cases, there are defenses still available to
Correct.
Jamela.
Let me get to that one, right? For example, what if Jamela files for vowsy? What are the penalties or repercussions?
Okay, for the penalties under violence against women and children, for these psychological injuries sustained by Jamela, the penalty may reach up to 6 to 12 years for Anthony. So as you can see here, the penalties on both sides are pretty heavy.
Quite
They-
heavy, I would
Yes.
say. What about other individuals that may have been involved in this fracas? For example, how did she get the content of these messages, right? If it was exchanged from somebody close to either party, are those individuals also liable for any violations or penalties?
I would say it may be possible for them to also be held liable alongside Jamela for the unauthorized processing of personal data or sensitive personal data. So in this case, they would be filed, a case may be filed against them together for the unauthorized processing because it involves, for example, let's say the use or the modification or the disclosure of these data to the public.
Right. What about Anthony? Because he kept these conversations, obviously, in his device or something like that. Can he be held liable for keeping these exchanges?
I would say not necessarily, because here it would seem like Anthony's phone was maybe not taken without his consent, or let's say the pictures were not taken with his consent. In this case, Anthony himself may not be, could not be held liable for the violation of Data Privacy Act, since it's his data privacy that has
Yeah,
been
because he
violated
can claim
in this case.
it was stolen from his device,
Yes.
right?
As you can see with the screenshots, right, like it was like a picture of like the phone with like the messages being shown. In this case, it would really fall on Jamela and whoever may have aided her in.
Right, but it's alleged that Anthony was the one that put together those messages. So still nothing, it doesn't hold water in any violation. Or...
I believe not necessarily, because like we said earlier, with regard to cheating, cheating isn't necessarily a crime, especially in a dating scenario. So these were essentially private conversations.
Can
that
you
were,
imagine if it was a legal thing? What a mess we would have all over the
everyone
country.
would be filing cases everywhere in this country. We would not stop.
Yes.
And I would probably be rich if that were the case.
Right, but looking at the legal implications of the three individuals here, especially those that feel like aggrieved. Obviously, Anthony and Maurice have not come out with a statement regarding, or at least up to my reading, no, they haven't come out with a statement saying that they are together, or their photos that that they were allegedly being close in an aircraft and stuff like that. Obviously, these things, nowadays you can recreate these things. What is the heaviest penalties or legal remedies can all three or individually file against each other, aside from VAUSI and privacy data laws?
For Jamela, I believe that the heaviest penalty would have to be violation against violence against women and children. So the 6 to 12-year penalty would be, I guess, let's say the
Against
heaviest.
her.
Against no, Jamela against
Anthony.
Anthony. So this would be the heaviest penalty from our laws here in the Philippines.
Right.
In terms of Maurice and Anthony against Jamela, the heaviest penalty that can probably be meted would come from cyber libel, because in cyber libel, the penalty is around 4 to 8 years.
Wow.
So just contrast that, I guess, to what we can have in the data privacy, which is either 1 to 3 or 3 to 6. So it's kind of a toss-up, I guess, depending as well on what the judge would, what penalty the judge would met, considering that this is a range of penalties being provided.
What about, Farina, what about those individuals that are creating these memes? Are they liable for against the law for creating these things? Obviously, they're jumping in and creating these sometimes hurtful things towards the individuals. Are they in any way or form liable?
I believe in this case, it may be possible to file certain cases against them.
Right.
Although I would think it would be a little bit more difficult or a little bit more of a waste of time.
Yeah, because you're talking about thousands of messages.
Yeah,
you're
and
chasing tail, basically.
Yeah, and you also have to consider the fact that you would have to, let's say, for example, anonymous profiles. You'd still have to maybe contact the NBI to be able to find out their identities, or you would have to go through more procedures to be able to file cases against them. And we also have to consider the fact that legal fees are not cheap. So,
Of course.
So it may not be the most convenient way of going about all of these persons. What I think might be the best option in this case would be directly filing a case against Jamela, in a way making it an example to all of the other people making these viral memes or these inflammatory posts to further fuel the fire.
Right. I mean, of course, there has to be more stricter rules or laws versus. Let's go on the business side of this in showbiz, right? Obviously, again, as mentioned a while ago, this is how they earn their keep, endorsement contracts and stuff like that. When a celebrity or a public figure goes in a contract with big companies or companies that need their services as representation for brands, Are there clauses in their contracts that state ethical clauses or like privacy clauses in terms of relationships that they have to keep quiet or under wraps until while the contracts are live?
In terms of non-disclosure of relationships, that may be possible. Because I guess, let's put into example idols or those the P-pop groups right now. For example, let's say there might be clauses in their contract that state that they can either not be in relationships or cannot disclose the fact that they are in relationships, as it might be hurtful or damaging to the image or the brand of their group.
Correct.
So in this case, it may be possible that such clauses like these would be could be found in their contracts, and more or less it is legal and valid to do
All right.
so.
What about brands that, for example, just want to put a pause on the contract while this whole scandal or this whole concern issue dies down, basically, because obviously that's what everybody wants to. Well, at least the people involved and the contracts involved, they just want to wait for it to die down, right?
Yes.
That's the easiest way to do damage control.
Yes.
Is it possible for these endorsements to be put on pause or hold?
Yes, I believe it is also possible to put these, for example, the advertisers, the contracts can be put on hold. In this case, there may be clauses in the contract that would state, let's say, perhaps a suspension first of the contract
Right.
if in case there are any violations made by the endorser. Or because I would believe as well that a penalty of completely severing the contract might be a little bit too extreme, considering also that right now the issue is still hot. There's still not been any statements made
Can
by
the
Marius and
individuals,
Anthony.
file something against these companies saying, "Hey, look, I'm here to support you, and you cut this off because of this. You couldn't support me." Can they also countersue?
It may be possible to countersue, but that would really be dependent on what
On the
clauses are
clauses.
present on the
Correct,
contract.
correct.
Because, for example, if the contract has a clause stating that, let's say, the company may terminate in case of any, let's say, conflict in values or any such clauses, those are valid and legal. In that case, they can't really claim against the company because
Right.
they would have the ultimate say.
What about the companies claiming damages from these individuals? Of course, notwithstanding the clauses in the contract, right?
Yes.
But then, of course, image is image, and if you damage it because of your actions, then to me, you're liable. You know what I mean? I'm not a lawyer, obviously, but just thinking on the commercial and branding sovereignty of their business.
Actually, it may be possible to do so because, for example, if the companies were forced to terminate their contracts with these stars, they could claim, like, let's say, there was a loss of income on their part or that there were expenses made that would no longer be recouped. And there could be possible remedies against these stars for not being able to pull through with their obligations or that they had damaged the brand's reputation due to their acts. So it may be entirely possible. But again, this really would depend on what clauses are placed into their contract. So it's not really a one-size-fits-all kind of situation.
Well, attorney, this is why I'm single. I don't want to get into a lot of legal impediments, right? But okay, let's talk about a little bit more of the softer side. Obviously, they're suffering, public backlash and made fun of. How do they protect themselves legally moving forward?
I do believe that in protecting themselves legally moving forward, well, first, I guess on the data privacy side of things, you gotta be more careful with.
Do you think the data privacy laws are placed appropriately, or do you think it still needs to be edited to protect individuals, celebrity, non-celebrity, the regular Joe on the street?
I believe that the data privacy laws in its current state are mostly sufficient. But I would say that there are certain issues or gray areas that need to be further discussed.
All right.
Like, let's say, for example, in this case, Jamela as a private person can't be held liable for other punishments found under the
Correct.
Data Privacy Act because they would say that she's not a personal information controller and that she was merely processing this data from her personal affairs, household affairs,
Correct.
or family affairs.
But attorney, this is getting more exciting, okay? Let's get back to that. We will have more of Attorney Sean later. Up next, a relationship expert talks about the personal and social implications of the issue when At the Forefront returns after a short break. Welcome back at the Forefront to talk about personal and social implications of cheating problems in a relationship. Joining us is U.S. certified matchmaker and dating coach Vanessa Antonio. Good morning, Coach V.
Good morning, Ferdi. Thank you so much for
I think I need you in my life. I just told Attorney Sean it's good that I'm single, but now that I'm talking to you,
I know,
perhaps I need your services.
I just heard you announce a while ago. That's the reason why I'm single. Well, I am here.
All right, Coach V, a lot has transpired over a couple of days between three individuals that are quite popular right now. It is perceived that ex-girlfriend Jamela Villanueva is the girl running after Maurice Racal's new boyfriend. This is a completely different twist, right? From being the ex now to a boyfriend chaser of a new boyfriend in a relationship, right?
Yes.
In your opinion, did she post the private messages for personal peace or to get revenge?
So, in a psychological perspective, I think, Ferdi, it's both, no? Because right now, if we put ourselves in her shoes, she's going through emotional distress.
Right.
She's probably having this, meron siyang desire to take back her power. So maybe at one point, she felt that posting it out in the open as well will, kind of balance that feeling na I was the one victimized here.
Yes.
And so, her truth could be, I just wanna give a fair chance, kumbaga straighten my image out in the public. But at the same time, I do believe na for anyone who gets hurt or gets cheated, meron talagang psychological desire na I don't want to be the victim anymore, and this is one of my ways that I could take back my power. Let me put out the
taking back
truth.
power does not necessarily being vocal about it, right? What about? Do you think if she took the quiet road? And obviously, she's being painted as a victim as well, right?
Yeah.
Do you think she should get more sympathy and get her peace and power back, as she said?
Right. So there are different ways to kind of cope when somebody goes through cheating. And at the same time, she wasn't portrayed as the victim at the beginning. She was portrayed as, somebody who needs like validation and putting out these cryptic messages without confirmation, di ba? So
It's been happening for quite some time, actually.
Parang when the issue came out first during, I think, August or September, when the picture of Maurice and Anthony was posted, kasi it was the birthday of Maurice, no? Parang after a month, may mga cryptic post na, but without confirmation. It was only, I think, this month that she put it out in the open and saying, like, I am the victim here. And so I do believe that in her experience, she could be quiet and take back her power pa din, but it may be just a coping mechanism to kind of feel na, hey, I'm just doing my part, no harm, but I'm the obviously the one being cheated here.
Right. Or allegedly.
Allegedly, yes, allegedly, because if the allegations are true, then she is actually the one on the kumbaga nasaktan na part.
Correct.
Yes.
What about if Anthony broke it off properly, or maybe he did? We don't know. We don't know
Yes,
that.
we don't
The
know
timeline is a little skewed at the moment, right?
Correct.
Because we don't know when this started or where the other relationship ended, right?
Yes.
Do you think it would have turned out different if Anthony just put it out there in public and he said, I am done, I'm moving forward?
Yes, absolutely. And just to put this more generally, like in in general, if a man likes somebody else, if he would just say and take accountability and say, you know, I'm going to end this relationship before entering a new one, then you have two ladies that will be saved from shame and scandal.
That is the utopia, Coach
That's
V,
the
right?
utopia, that's true,
But
right?
this next question of mine will be the sugar in your morning coffee, because I'm sure everybody wants to know.
Yes.
What are the telltale signs when a partner is already cheating in a relationship?
Ayan. It's funny because when I get asked this question, some of the listeners would say, oh, I knew it. But there are also some people who got cheated and say, oh, my partner did the total opposite, sent me flowers, loved me, thrown party for me, but I didn't know that they were cheating.
It's all about strategy, right?
Yeah, so some people are very, very sneaky when it comes to cheating,
Right.
but there are common signals when somebody's cheating, and one of the most common is really change in behavior.
Ooh, okay.
You know, when we talk about
Take
change,
note, folks. Change in
change in
behavior.
behavior. For example, let's talk about clothing and appearance.
Oh,
Before,
really?
yes, before they take care of themselves, but you will see some sort of drastic change wherein super sipag mag-gym. And hindi lang yan, change in schedule. Like for example, usually lalabas lang or lunchtime na or hapon, tapos biglang umaga pa lang, preparing already for the day or
So,
out and about already.
Coach V, is this
Yes.
like coming out from the nesting period and you're like, all right, I want to look better, smell
Yes.
better, get those abs in? That's a telltale sign?
It could be a sign because it is actually a mating strategy. You want to level up how you look, how you smell, how you are perceived by people because you're trying to get somebody's attention and attraction. And so you are leveling up in different aspects of your life. Not to say that it's bad to do that because it could be for personal growth, right? But
Can you imagine everybody running around now checking their partner's
Oh,
outfits and their gym schedule?
yeah. Are
It's
you
a mess
really
on
in the
EDSA
gym?
right now because of that.
That's why when you are thinking that or suspecting that somebody is cheating, it's important to have multiple signs stacked. Hindi
Right.
pwede na, oh, nag-gym ng out of schedule, that's already cheating. Oh, nag-shopping ng bagong clothes, that's
I'll
already
get
cheating.
to that. I'll get to that. That issue that concern later
yes.
because obviously now they're freaking out. What are the other signs?
So the other signs also is ito yung pinaka-obvious, change in intimacy. Before they're so caring, touchy, very, they want to spend time with you, they want to be physical with you. But when there is a decrease in that, that means posibleng may ibang napupuntahan. Or they're already preparing to withdraw those emotional connection. That's why it already reflects in the physical way. So if before you used to be magkadikit when you guys go out and you holding hands, yung mga little things when that's already going out of the window, that means it may be going to somebody else.
That I would say in my not so vivid history, that to me would be a major sign.
Yeah, absolutely. And your partner will feel that. Unang-una, they will feel insecurity, like maybe I'm not attractive enough. That's why they're pulling out the intimacy. But later on, once you realize what's really going on, which is may bago ng partner, that's when you finally realize, oh, it's not because of me. That's why it's important that women and men who got cheated do not blame themselves.
What about money matters?
Okay.
We are in Bilyonaryo. Of course,
Yes.
we'll talk about money matters.
Yes.
Are there any signs if there's a shift in like saving
Yes.
or expenditure?
Correct. So I do believe that wherever your money goes, that's where your happiness lies. So we invest our money in
I just looked at myself on screen. Oh no.
So it's not for everybody, but humans have a tendency to invest their money in things that either will bring them happiness or will give them returns, i.e. investments, right? And so when the partner starts redirecting also a portion of their money into something else that's not investing in your relationship, then it could also be a sign. Sabi nga nila, oh, you look at the credit card records, because that will also give you an idea, not just because you you saw like dinner for two. But it also shows like, did they spend most of their money in, sabi natin, vanity or improvement or
Lingerie.
or lingerie, diba? Like something out of character.
Yes.
That's very important to kind of like track, including in their money
Correct.
spending.
Okay, why is cheating so alluring? What makes it so alluring, especially obviously for those who have been in a relationship for quite some time?
Right.
What makes it so alluring? Is it because it's the danger aspect that's exciting? What is it, Coach V?
So I do believe that as human beings, we have this need for new things. No, we want something exciting, and that's not just for people who are likely to cheat. It's in general. But some people who are in a relationship and still having that craving of, instead of kind of bringing new things in the relationship, they would like source that need for new things outside of the relationship. That's when the cheating happens. Because
Let's make it specific.
Yeah.
Why do men cheat?
So men cheat for multiple reasons, and primarily there are a few things. No, it could be because of opportunity, because there's a chance to cheat.
Right.
It could be because of ego. I want to check if I'm still attractive to other women besides my partner. And it could also be because of physical disconnection. I don't anymore connect physically with my partner. So I would have to, like look somewhere else and kind of like find that physical connection. So it all starts with, they say it all starts with the emotional connection. When you guys are not already kind of connecting emotionally, then the physical follows as well. It's a reflection of what is happening also in your relationship.
I'm sure our viewers that are eating breakfast right now are looking at their male partners. They're like, what about women? Why do women cheat?
So women primarily, based on research, they cheat because of emotional disconnection. So unlike men, sometimes they cheat because of physical reasons. Women primarily, for most parts, cheat for emotional reasons. When they don't feel supported, when they feel disconnected, when they don't feel that they have a partner already. So women cheating is actually more kumbaga dangerous, because we feel na they're not just cheating for physical, to satisfy physical needs. Many of them are actually cheating because they really want out.
All right, this is a little controversial now. Once obviously trust is lost, it's so difficult or even impossible to restore between two individuals, right? And I thank goodness I don't have any sharp objects on the table, but should cheaters be given a second or third chance?
So this is a tough question, because we do believe that everybody could change. But one research actually shared that once you've cheated in your previous relationship, you are 3 times more likely to cheat again in your current and future relationship.
My goodness.
Yeah.
So when you're on your first date,
Have you cheated in the
Have you
past?
cheated before? Because
Absolutely.
the statistics say
Yes.
that you're gonna cheat on me 3 times greater than you would on a regular basis, right?
And that is because of behavior and character.
Right.
If it's in your character already that you don't feel the guilt, you don't feel that it's bad to cheat, you don't feel that there's something wrong in having 2 ladies, fight against it, you fight them, you allow them to fight each other for you, then that means it's a character flaw.
Or an ethical flaw.
An ethical flaw, yes.
Okay.
Because they also think that it's okay. And so the likelihood of them doing it again, since it's okay for them, is higher than those people who have never cheated.
How many times do you think you should give your partner a chance if they're caught cheating?
Oh my God. Ferdi, this is such a difficult question. You know why? Because you have friends, and maybe you've gone through relationships wherein you really love the person, and if you could just give them 100 times of chances, you will. But we all know that's not healthy. Because especially if a person has a tendency to be a chronic cheater, that means repeatedly, it's a repeated
Yes.
behavior. It's not you, it's not their mother, it's not anyone else who could change them. It's only gonna be them.
Let's
Who can
have
change
the
themselves.
love-lorn viewers, okay? What is a scientific number for you to give a chance to your partner?
Yes. Unfortunately, there is no scientific chance because it
Opportunity
really
lost right there.
yes. But what I would say is you should be able to give that person a chance, kumbaga, many enough for them to show that they have changed. But if you've given them 1, 2, 3 times, I think going on 4, 5, 6 without any remorse and without any concrete changes that you could actually see, I mean, it's just gonna repeat. So save your time, go pack your bag, and find somebody who's more compatible with you and somebody who doesn't believe that cheating is okay.
What about chances versus demand?
Ooh, what do you mean by that, Ferdi?
I demand you to change. I'll give you a
Oh.
chance, but I demand you to change.
Okay, this is very interesting because it's different for both men and women.
Yes.
Sometimes women feel that they could change a man, but we've seen it in so many times, even research back, that they are the ones who could only change themselves. But when we look at stories naman, there are men who change themselves because they really, really love the woman. So you cannot change them, but because of if they really love you, then they might want to change themselves.
Right. What about, okay, how do individuals in a relationship overcome cheating? What
that's
are, obviously we can't, go down to the nitty-gritty, but
Right.
what can we tell our viewers to help them, at least give them 3, what should we call it, support statements?
So there are things that you can do on your own to overcome cheating, but if you want a faster way to kind of heal and process all that emotions, go to experts. So work with a therapist to kind of help you process what happened and move on in a more effective way. Because if you just move on your own, you don't know if whatever you're doing is already the right one, right? So, but if you don't have access to therapists or experts to help you with this, you could start with personal growth. And I would say start going and working out because you need to put make sure that your self-esteem is not plummeting. Second is for those couples who are recovering from cheating, it's important to do the conversation wherein this is not going to happen again. If this happens again, this is this is the things that we're going to do. So put some sort of like a pact.
Right.
And observe if both of you are honoring that pact. Because without that agreement, without that pact, it's so hard to trust them again because we have trauma.
But, well, Coach V, you're talking about pacts and agreements.
Yes.
We'll be right back. Okay,
Yes.
we're going to have Attorney Sean supporting you on the legal impediments of this. More of both Coach V and Attorney Sean Lee when the Forefront returns after a short break. Welcome back at the Forefront with Attorney Sean Lee and relationship coach, Coach Vanessa, Coach V. Attorney, Coach V, wow, the conversation is definitely heating up. Are you comfortable about cheating? Okay, a couple of questions for the both of you. Obviously, after your personal opinion, after all these scandals have gone through, do you think the showbiz career on a legal standpoint of Marisa Cal and Anthony Jennings are irreversibly damaged?
In my opinion, I don't think it's irreversibly damaged. I think we've seen a lot of celebrities who have bounced back from a lot of these, let's say, cheating scandals or issues that have erupted over the past few years. In this case, what Marisa and Anthony are doing right now with the media blackout and just not addressing the issue at all, I think what they're trying to do is bide their time and trying to wait for an opportunity to simply come back and resume their activity. So I don't think that there's necessarily any irreparable damage in this
Right,
case.
but that's the wonderful world of show business,
Yes.
right? Any news is good news, right? What about you, Coach V? Do you think that Jamela has already found her her peace after posting all these conversations?
I do feel that it's too early for her to find peace, but I do believe that she feels more empowered now than before.
Yeah,
because
we were talking about this bit earlier during the
Yes,
break.
right.
You were saying you wanted to clarify something.
Yeah, so right now there's this accusation wherein Maurice have stole Anthony from Jamela, but I just wanted to kind of put it out in the open that if you say a woman stole a man, that leaves a man like innocent. Like he got stolen as if he doesn't have his own agency. But the truth is, when you look at the issue is really a committed person have cheated in his relationship. And so the blame should not be going on to the women involved, but to the person who actually got the two women involved. And so it's about kind of like accountability and understanding that sometimes society has this way of focusing on the women and not holding the man accountable.
Attorney Lee, what do you think should, this is a good question. What do you think is the best strategy for damage control for Maurice and Anthony? Should they break off the love team?
I think yes, because
On a legal basis.
okay, on a legal basis, it would be best to, I think what they're doing right now is the optimal strategy, that they are not talking about the issue, that they're letting the heat pass by first before they make any concrete statements, because right now people are still heated. They may, whatever they say right now, people will not take it well.
Right, because actually Maurice has actually turned off her notifications on her social media platforms. So, stemming from what you said, that's a good strategy.
Yes, I would believe so, because right now, for example, if they address it, it's as if they're admitting that these are already real screenshots, or that there really was cheating happening here. So right now, it's best to just kind of let everything flow by first and wait it out. And then they find the right opportunity to provide their statements on the matter.
In your personal / professional opinion, the truth can set you free. Do you think the two individuals like Anthony and Maurice should come up with the truth? Do you think that's a wise move on their part?
So there's two sides in here. The
If they
showbiz
have
side.
they have a relationship.
If this is
after.
true, right? If this allegations is true, so there are two sides of it: the show business and the personality, such as being a man and a woman. So in show business, I do believe that whatever is happening would even help their career out. Sabi nga nila, there's no good or bad PR, no? But personally, as a woman, that is already, like, those screenshots, if those are theirs, will be on the internet forever. And those were not just simple screenshots. Those are, kumbaga, merong sexual parts. So,
Yes.
so as a woman, that is something that like women should be kind of aware moving forward. And as well as for the man who are involved in these allegations, like having sabi natin, screenshots or proof that will be posted out in the open. Well, of course, that's something that people would remember, but it's not something that it's gonna hurt them forever. It's gonna be helpful in the long run.
Right. What about you, Attorney Sean? How do these three people move forward from their public scandal to protect themselves? Of course, aside from being, everybody to be more mindful of your actions and stuff like that.
From a legal standpoint, in terms of Maurice and Anthony, I do think that filing a case may be beneficial for them, especially since there has been a lot of damage done already, especially to the advertisement contracts of Maurice or to the endorsements that she has, that a lot of them are already pulled out. I estimate maybe millions of pesos have already been lost by Maurice just because of the allegations against her and that these screenshots were posted. So I do think that it may be in Maurice's best interest to file a case against Jamela for either the violation of Data Privacy Act or for cyber libel, just to, I guess, prove a point as well that you should be more careful with what you're posting on social media, and that these screenshots, although she was hurt by it, there still needs to be the proper forum to be able to voice out these concerns without having to compromise someone else's data privacy.
Do you think women are better cheaters than men, Attorney Lee?
I do believe
Straight
that.
up. Whew.
Well, I do believe that women are better cheaters, but men are more,
Likely.
prevalent in the cheating. Like for example, if a woman were to cheat, you may not even know until maybe the guy already passed away, the guy has already left. You may not even know, but a
when
guy
she's
would just
pregnant.
be, cheating left and right, and
Yeah.
they will be caught, and then the woman will forgive, and then it's.
Yeah.
There's like a cycle that needs to be broken.
Retort
here.
from you, Coach V. This is what I want to hear.
This, I do believe that women are better cheaters and more dangerous cheaters. But the risk for a woman is higher when
Yeah.
they cheat compared to a man cheating. And so we can't say that women cheat less, but just think about the risk that could happen. And so they're more careful. So it makes sense that they are better cheaters.
If anybody needs professional help, Attorney Sean, how do they contact you?
You can contact me through I'm an associate lawyer from the Bilyonaryo Gonzalez Law Offices, and we are located at Quezon Avenue, Suite 303, Pacific Century Tower. So in case that you would have any legal concerns or issues that you would like
From
to be
cheating,
addressed, maybe not from cheating, but maybe for other matters, you may go to our law office there.
What about you, Coach V?
Thank you for
You're going to be
thank
very
you,
busy
everybody.
after this, I'm sure.
Yeah, so besides me being a relationship expert, I am a matchmaker. And so if you want to find love with somebody who's less likely to cheat, then you come to us. We will filter your matches for you and we'll help you find love. I am Dating Coach V on Instagram if somebody wants to reach out. And I also run the only dating company in the Philippines, which is Singles Events Manila.
At least now you've got legal representation with Attorney Sean, okay?
Yes.
Everything covered.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Attorney Sean and Coach V. No matter how big the cheating allegations of Maurice Recala and Anthony Jennings has hit the public consciousness, all scandals and controversies died down over time. The very fact that these two celebrities hit a major setback in their almost there struggle to reach the top, a major lesson is learned from this experience. Being young is no excuse to be wild and reckless, especially when other people are hurt in the process. Be timely informed, be insightful of the news, always stay at the forefront. Join us again on Monday for meaningful conversations that would help you from an objective personal opinion. This is Ferdi Salvador. Thank you for spending your hour with us.